Welcome back to another Spirit Island video. In this video, we'll be talking about Stone's power cards. Stone starts the game with 4 unique power cards. The very first one is Jagged Shards Push from the Earth. It is a 0 cost Fire Earth. It's a slow power, 1 range, and you may add a Badlands or add a Badlands and push up to 2 Dahan from that land. This is one of Stone's core cards, and that's because of 3 reasons. First, it's because it costs 0. A lot of times you want to be playing 0 cost Earth cards to hit your left and your right innate. Next, it adds Badlands, and that Badlands can be used to combo with your right innate or any minors or majors you pick up in the deck. And third, it is a push Dahan card, so it's a Dahan movement card, so you can combine it with your Stubborn Solidity, which is your Dahan defense. So use Jagged Shards, push Dahan, Stubborn, defend Dahan, and you just keep doing that back and forth. Looking at the second Stone's unique card, we have Stubborn Solidity. It is a 1 energy Sun Earth animal. It's a fast card, target 1 range, defend 1 per Dahan, and then Dahan in target land cannot be changed. This includes when they would be damaged, destroyed, removed, replaced, or moved. Instead, do not. And that is important because that allows those Dahan to dodge crazy event cards, dodge if they were to die from events, from Sweden escalations, pretty much anything. It also prevents them from being moved. So you can't use Stubborn Solidity and then move the Dahan out. That's a small interaction that a lot of players miss sometimes. In addition, there is a Dahan defend here, and that defend can counteract the right innate. So if I have the right innate, invaders are doing 10 damage in that land. Normally I'd be doing 2 damage plus half the damage rounded down. So that'd be 2 plus 5. So I'd be doing 7 damage. Well, if I have 2 Dahan there, I now have a defend 2 in that land. So now instead of them doing 10 damage to the land, they're only doing 8. And then when you do the math, you end up doing 6 damage back instead of that 7. And that's definitely something to keep track of whenever you have defensive powers in your right innate lands that can reduce the damage you're doing back. Okay, looking at the next card, we have Plow's Shatter on Rocky Ground. It's a 2 energy, single earth card. It's a slow power, 1 range, 1 damage to each building, and then push up to 1 town or destroy a town. Now, this is Stone's weakest card, and that's just because for 2 energy, killing a town is not good enough. Stone's actions are so powerful, both of your innates and your uniques and cards that you draft along the way are just going to be better than this card. So usually I forget this card for majors. The top part of this card could be used with the right innate if you want to do 1 damage to all buildings, and then use the right innate that can help soften up the land. But well, actually, you couldn't do that because this card is slow, so really you would be doing the right innate first, followed by Plows. But yeah, this card, I mean, I play it sometimes into Sweden, sometimes into Prussia, but usually this is just on the weaker end. Finally, we have Scarred in Stony Land. This is a 2 energies, Moon, Earth. It is a slow power, Sacred Site range, must target a land with Blight. You get to do 2 damage, add a Badlands, and remove a Blight. I consider this card a get out of jail card. A lot of times you don't want to forget this card because you'll have lands that build up with Blight, and this might be your only way to remove that Blight from that land. And you also get damage and a Badlands as well, but really it's that Blight removal that is so important. I mean, sometimes I forget it, but if I'm forgetting it, it's likely because that Moon event came up really early and I can't pay for it. But try not to. Let's now look at Stone's elemental spread. Now, Stone is primarily an Earth spirit, and as you can see, all 4 uniques have Earth, and that's shown up here. We then have a single Sun on Stubborn Solidity, a single Fire on Jagged Shards, a Moon on Scarred and Stony Land, and an animal on Stubborn. So as you guys can imagine, Stubborn Solidity is your best card, not only for the effects, but it also has the best elements. And you're going to notice that Sun Animal is so important for comboing with some majors, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the video. Overall, stone is going to be having, I believe this is 8. Yes, so stone has 8 elements across all 4 uniques. Now, looking at the tracks, stone is very unique in that it has a complete track that's dedicated for elements, and you're going to be getting 5 extra elements, 5 extra earth elements on that bottom track. In addition, you also get an any. So stone gets an additional 6 elements there. Lastly, stone has a growth option that allows stone to get 2 earth whenever they reclaim, and I have that as indicated over here. Now, stone does not get access to water, air, or plant. Now, stone does get plenty of drafts, and I'm going to talk about this in the opening guide. But a lot of times I like to draft cards that have these elements, even if they don't have earth, because I want to be able to have a card if I need to forget for a payment event. So a lot of players, they think, oh, stone is an earth player. I have to draft earth. And while drafting earth can be helpful, a lot of times it's not the way to be approaching stone. You want to be drafting cards that are off element so that you can cover your weaknesses. Drafting like Call to Isolation or drafting Enticing Splendor, these fast control cards that can be very critical. You already have very strong earth cards in Jagged and Stubborn. It's very rarely, well, I shouldn't say very rarely, there are some earth cards that you'll also play, but usually you'll be playing these 2 cards a lot, so you don't really need another earth card to be playing along with these 2. Now, of course, there are some amazing earth cards, and as I get up here when I talk about the minors, you're going to see a lot of these are earth cards, but a lot of times I tend to draft off element with stone. Now, these are some cards that are just, in general, very, very good with stone. We've Call to Guard. Just drafting a second defend is always good. So Call to Guard, it's at Sun Earth, really important for that right innate. And it's a Dahan Gather, it's 0 cost, everything we want. Nature's Res is that Earth Plant, defense 6. That plant is critical for that left innate. Twin Days, definitely one of the weaker cards up here, but because stone is very cheesy, you tend to have an extra play that you can just give away. So being able to play Twin Days to support the team is excellent. Carapace Land, another defense 6. Elemental Boon, once again, supporting the team. Strong Constant Currents, 0 cost, Water Earth. And I was talking about Call to Isolation, but this is another card. It's a fast control card, and that's kind of helping stone out because stone's biggest weakness is it doesn't have fast control. So you're making up for stone's weakness by drafting it. Once again, a Treacherous Waterways. This is another fast control card. I do have a video that has been posted that uses this card to great effect. So I believe it's a Russia 6 video. So you can find it somewhere in this guide. I believe I recorded it back in March, but just an excellent pickup on stone. Primal is a defend 3, also an earth card. Hazards is a earth plant, 0 cost, and it adds more badlands. Sometimes I pick this card up. We already have that 0 cost badlands, so it's kind of redundant. The only reason why you would want this card is if you plan on playing 2 badlands cards a turn, and if I'm doing that, it's usually because I'm meming or I'm playing against England and I need a lot of badlands. My current record for the amount of badlands at the end of an England game is 29. So if you can beat that, that'd be hilarious. But it was one of the funniest games we've ever had. I think I was playing 3 badlands cards a turn for several turns. And then I ended up drafting Forest of Living Obsidian on repeat. It was just a very degenerate game, but it was a lot of fun. Gift of Constancy, the best card in the game. It is perfect element for you. So always pick this up if you find it. Call to Trade, also on element. It's a Ravage skip. Quicken, defend 10. Drift down, defend 4. I love Call to Ferocity here as it's a 0 cost Dahan movement and it's perfect on element. It also has control, which is great with that push town explorer. We now have Call to Isolation, where it's push 1 town explorer per Dahan. It's a 0 cost. It is off element, but it's great. Nature's Connection. This card can enable stone to do some very interesting things. Stone typically has an off turn on turn 3. and I'll talk about this in the next video. But on turn 3, you have only 4 earth, and if you're playing Nature's Connection, you actually have 5 earth. The reason why that's important is because of that right innate here, where you need 5 earth to hit it. So on turn 3, when you reclaim, if you have Nature's Connection, that means you get to hit that innate. Promises, another card I love on Stone. It's a 0 cost, Sun Earth. Sun Earth being critical for hitting that red innate. It's fast Dahan movement. Great card. Quenchable Flame, I just added it because it's a Earth card that can add more Badlands. Rouse, Earth Plant does damage. Dark Entangled does some fear. Defend 3. Gift of Power, gains minors. On element, 0 cost. Mez on element, 0 cost, isolates, and then Sky Stretch, perfect element. Amazing support card. So these are some minors that I look out for when I'm playing Stone. There are plenty of other minors that I will also draft, but these are the ones that just stand out as just excellent picks. Let's look at the majors here. And I don't know what happened to my tiers, but let me redraw those in. Okay, so just like the volcano video, don't get too caught up in exactly where I'm placing power cards. I actually think some of these power cards are probably different from the original video. Um, I've played more games with Stone, so my opinions changed just slightly. But S tier, these are your cards that are just amazing. You pick these cards up on Stone, losing the game is, I would probably say impossible. Um, Bargains of Coursing Path. This is one of the new majors from the new expansion. It's a well, I'm not going to talk exactly I'm not going to go through the card completely, but this creates 2 portals. You can just read the text here. Really, what makes this card really strong is the 2 portals that you create. You could just shuttle things into Stone's like punchback lands, and like I mentioned earlier, fast control is so important for Stone, and this allows 2 of your lands to just be shut off for the rest of the game. It also allows you to like reclaim loop because you're always placing presence. You're always G1ing, and I'll talk about this in the opening guide. But if you have a portal in one of your mountains, you can drop the presence in, and then it teleports away. So you could basically put your presence anywhere. Rumbling Earthquake, another Nature's Incarnate major. This card is just nuts on Stone. And at first, when we were developing this card, um, it used to be pretty bad. It was actually one of the worst majors in the game, and I was able to convince them to buff it to where it's at this power level. What makes it great on Stone is a very cheaty spirit. You get 6 energy on turn 5, and you're playing zeros and ones in the first couple turns, so you just have so much energy. And getting that 4 Earth threshold is really what makes this card, I guess, I don't want to say weak, but it locks a lot of spirits out. Stone gets the threshold for free, and the energy is very easy to hit. So as you can imagine, this card is just busted on Stone. Tiger's Hunting, this is one of my favorite cards in the game. A lot of players think it's bad on Stone, or just bad in general, but it's a fast damage card, so you can use this card to get rid of problems that Stone can't normally deal with. Trees and Stones, perfect element Stone card. Dahan defend damage. I mean, what's not to like? It even has the plant for that left innate. Unrelenting Growth allows Stone to get very far ahead. I mean, just very strong card on spirits that that have the energy to play it. Paralyzing Fright, a very easy reclaim loop card. The Earth Threshold is free, so all you need is a single air, and then that's 8 fear a turn. And as you can see, Stone is making 6 energy a turn, and this only costs 4, so it's very easy to reclaim loop this. Sleep and Never Awaken, it's another skip. It is a Russia killer. It's on element. You're 1 moon and air away from thresholding it. So, I mean, this card has saved games for other players. Usually Stone is far ahead where it doesn't need this, but this card just wins games. Infinite Vitality, just like Rumbling Earthquake, that 4 Earth threshold is very difficult to hit, and Stone gets it for free. And this is essentially a skip that also heals Blight every turn. Vengeance of the Dead, and I'm actually referring to the exploratory state. Let's change it. It's completely off element, but hitting that animal is very possible when you reach the 4 plays, and that's once you reach, I'm talking about pure top track. So once you're reaching this state here, you'll have 4 plays, and you have stubborn solidity because you have that animal. So you only need one more animal card, and you threshold this, and it says after invaders or Dahan are destroyed, deal damage equal to the destroyed piece's base health. And if you threshold it, you can deal damage into adjacent lands. So a lot of times what happens, you'll have a big land because you're stone, you're going to punch back to kill that land. You'll do like what, 20 damage there. If I can get this going. 20 damage there. You'll have a thresholded Vengeance of the Dead, plus you'll have it thresholded, like I mentioned, because of stubborn and another animal card, and then you get to do all of the damage to adjacent lands. So very, very strong. Okay, next one. Weave. This is one of my favorite majors in the game. It's a perfect element card for stone, and it combines 2 lands. So now if you have a land ravaging, stone can play Weave, combine that land with an adjacent land, and then you can clear 2 lands. Indom, another perfect element card. It's a prolif. I mean, as you can see, there are so many busted Sun Earth cards that are so great on stone. Unleash a Torrent. It's a Sun Fire. Now you might be saying, what makes this card good? There's no Earth. Well, you have a Fire Earth here, so you're only 1 fire away from thresholding this card. Um, and because you're reclaiming, just like Vengeance of the Dead is being off element, you can afford to play an off element card once you reach the what is this? The 4th card place. This is turn 6. And finally, we have Vigor of the Breaking Game, one of the best majors in the game. Stone. Turns out Stone has the exact card that's needed to threshold it. You have a Sun animal, so you're only 1 sun off from thresholding this card. So this is why Stubborn is so powerful. You get to threshold Vigor with just a single card, and then obviously you need to draft another Sun, but still. Okay. Looking at A tier. So, like I said, don't get caught up with the tiers. I'm just going to kind of fly through the rest of these. We have Irresistible, Pent Up, Forests, Instruments, Voice of Command, Insatiable, Wrap, Pyro, Draw, Walls, Bargains, Blazing, Flocking, Trees Radiate, Flow Like Water, and Infestation. So, a couple ones to point out. We have Flow, we have Flocking. These are non-earth cards, but they're just fast control. And like once again, it's so critical with stone. Irresistible Call. I'm picking this card because that Gather 15 Explorers can be game saving into Russia, and you have the energy economy to play it. Card like Instruments, you are 2 sun off from thresholding this card. So you're a spirit that can threshold it. We have Draw Towards the Consuming Void. This card alone can win games on turn 2 if you draft it. Stone has all of the energy needed to play it, so it is a win con. I love Draw. I also love Pyro on Stone. Pyro is great against Russia, great against France. Rapid Wings is a great way to get a bunch of Dahan into a land where you need them. But yeah, these are just some very, very strong cards with Stone. Now we have some B tier cards. We have Sea Monsters, Sweep, Entwine Power, Winds, Utter Curse, Unlock, Dream, Thickets, Jungle Hungers, Spill Bitterness, Transformative Sacrifice, Storm Swath, Power Storm, Poison Land, Melt Earth, Tsunami, and finally Strangling Firevine. I picked these cards a lot less, but these cards do have some game. So like if I'm missing all of the S or A, I might be grabbing one of these B tier. I'd be pretty happy with them as well. Finally, we have C tier. These are cards that I'm unlikely to play, but sometimes have text. Angry Bears, Dissolve, Fragments, Land Thrashes. This card is so funny. I used to hate the card, and I still don't like it, but I had a very high difficulty game where this card was game saving. So it was a very funny game. My play group has given me a lot of dirt for it because like I said, I say a lot of bad things about it, and like this card was just nuts. It did like 20 damage in our game, but it was a crazy Sweden game, so there's blight everywhere, and Stone has a very tough Sweden matchup, and the Explorers didn't go my way. It was just a very, very funny game. Settle into the Hunting Ground, the Wounded Wild, Terrifying Nightmares, Vanish Softly, Focus, Infestation, Bloodrack Plague, and Talon. So like I said, these are cards that I rarely pick up, but sometimes they do have text. And finally, these are the cards that I never pick up. Mists, Cleansing Flood, Death Falls, Pillar, Fire and Flood. These cards never pick up with Stone. I think I've picked up Cast Down maybe once or twice. Stone has the energy to play it. It has the card drafts to threshold it. It is possible to threshold this card. It's unlikely, um, but it can play the card. But I just, a lot of times, you're better off just not playing this card because remember, Stone's right innate is basically cast down. Like, that's how powerful it is. So, why play a 9 energy cast down when you get it for free? Manifest. This is a card that you think would be better on Stone. It's a Sun Earth card, but it's just too expensive. Causes a Ravage action. The fear is usually minimal. I'm very underwhelmed with this card unless you're doing like crazy combo things with like Finder, where Finder throws like 20 buildings on your board and then you play this card and it's just it's just frustrating because you think it would be good with Stone's Red and 8, but just a lot of times it's just not it's just too expensive. You just can't afford it. Transform, once again, one of the worst majors in the game. Accelerated Rot, Twisted Flowers, Savage Transformation, Grant Hatred, and Volcanic. All fairly weak cards. Volcanic, I mean, you might be able to work. I mean, it's very similar to Cast Down, where it's like you have the energy to play it, you can threshold it, but it's like, why are you playing this very expensive card when your right innate just clears the land already? What makes Rumbling Earthquake so good, or makes Tsunami so good, is they hit multiple lands, and they're not 8 energy, right? You could still afford the card. Like 8 energy, 9 energy, these cards just, you can't play them. Okay. Looking at the last part, and that is talking about events. Okay. So over here on the left side, I have the payment events here. So Stone loves these cards, and Stone is one of the best spirits in the game for preventing edge cases. And edge cases, I have to make a video at some point talking about them, but those are the percentage of games where things don't go your way because of the event deck. And one of those could be these event cards, these payment cards where spirits just don't have the actions to obtain resources to pay for them. A good example would be playing River and flipping Rising Interest. This has happened to me many a times, but flipping Rising Interest on turn 2. And River doesn't have the air, doesn't have the drafts to pay for it, so you just end up getting stuck with the top part of the card. Well, Stone gets so many, by the second turn, Stone has looked at 12 cards and has 5 energy stored up. Like, you can pay for anything. And that's what makes Stone just so busted. Also, Remnants. This is the Earth card. You could pay for this by yourself for free a lot of time. And, I mean, usually you never want to pay for this card, but the fact that you can the fact that you can whenever you want is just upside. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Missionaries, increasing the damage of buildings. Usually that sucks, but who cares? We're Stone. We have that right innate, so more damage to us, more damage to them. What else? New species spread with new diseases. Adding disease to lands with Dahan. Oh wait, that would kill my Dahan. Nope. Because we have stubborn solidity. So just being able to ignore so many of these edge cases. Okay. Over here, once again, more edge cases we get to like play around. Relentless Optimism, Cultures Mix and Clash, replacing Dahan, or foreign diseases, killing Dahan. Oh wait, you have Stubborn Solidity, protecting our Dahan. Farmer's Seek, one of the worst cards, or the worst event card that exists right now. Top part kills a Dahan, bottom part kills a Dahan. We have Stubborn. Top part adds a blight. Who cares? We're Stone. We'll just pay energy to pay for that blight. Just get to ignore the edge case. A card like Increasing Aggression that increases damage. Who cares? Right innate. Stone. We just get stronger. Fortune Seekers. We have Grim Toll. Once again, killing Dahan does not matter. We have Stubborn. Here's some more edge case events. We have Invested after the Ravage step. If no blight was added, we're always adding blight due to our left innate. So we're adding blight, even though it's coming from our bag, we still don't have to take this. We have gradual corruption. Got to add a blight to a land with buildings? Ah, dang. Well, who cares? It costs us 1 energy and we can pay for it. So we basically get to ignore gradual corruption. Struggles of growth. I have this here. It's not like we're ignoring this, but that bottom part, it says forget a power card. Because we have so many drafts, we can forget a power card and use this card to move our presence into lands where our presence is not. And the biggest weakness to the strategy that I propose is it's very difficult to move presence once it's placed down. You're very static, and that tends to be the spirits I like to play, like stone, green, towering roots. They're very static, or earth. They're very static on the board, and this is a card that says, "Hey, what if you just like moved your presence wherever you want?" Some other edge cases that stone prevents, like these blighted cards where it says blight deepens on each board, add a blight or destroy a presence. Because of our left innate, once again, we can kind of ignore that. Well, ignore it, it costs energy, but you guys get the point. Same with like blighted events, or not blighted events, blight cards that flip up. We get to ignore that because of our left innate. Just pay energy and who cares? But yeah, so stone is just very good at ignoring these edge case effects. So if you like this video, like, subscribe for more content. I'll see you guys in the next video.